Okay, everybody's familiar with the 5.56 round. This issue of recoil cover guns, however, we ain't going there. We're going a lot bigger. This is the mighty and magnificent 416 Barrett MRAD ELR, and it's probably the biggest cover gun we've ever put in recoil. Although the MRAD ELR is an absolute monster, takedown is very, very simple. So first off, we're going to clear the gun out, and then we are going to cock it just to make sure the striker's back, press out the two takedown pins, which is very, very AR-like, but I might need a tool to do that. Handy dandy 500 grain punch. Okay, then we just take out the two pins and then drop the lower receiver out. Pull the bolt out of the receiver completely, and there it is, field stripped. So as you can see from the lower, if you've used an AR before, this is going to be extremely familiar to you. The only difference is, instead of the normal fire control group, you have a sear here which captures the striker in the bolt. Other than that, it's very, very simple, I guess. I mean, look at this. It's got a, rather than have the safety selector on the left side where you would expect it with an AR, it actually is on the right side, because generally people who are going to shoot this are going to wrap their thumb around it, and it provides you a little grip for your thumb. The other cool thing about the bolt, you notice here, is the bolt head is completely removable, so you can do caliber swaps in the field. Pretty much like the MRAD. In this case though, this bolt looks more like an artillery piece than a bolt gun. You can see it's an interrupted thread, and a buttressed Acme thread pattern there, which so it's massively strong. Once you've done your caliber change, you just flick the little lever on and you're back in business. Construction wise, we have an aluminum alloy upper receiver, an aluminum alloy lower receiver, and then an absolute massive tank of a barrel. This thing literally is wider at the muzzle than an AR-15 is right in front of the chamber. It looks like it's about 1 1/8, maybe 1 1/4 inches in diameter at the muzzle, and it just gets fatter underneath the handguards. If you want to swap the barrel out, there are 3 Torx-headed bolts right here, and all you do is back those out, pull the barrel out, and put another one in. Like an AR, the bolt locks up into a barrel extension, so your headspace is set with the barrel to the bolt, and you don't need to mess with it when you drop it in. Out front, we've got a tank-like muzzle brake. This is a Barrett component, and it's available on a lot of their guns, including their 50s, and it does an excellent job of reducing recoil down to a very pleasant push, despite the fact this is slinging, say, a 500 grain projectile at around about 2750 feet per second. Recoil on it is surprisingly mild. It's more like shooting a 6.5 Creed unbraked than it is shooting, something this big. The downside to that is, of course, the incredibly large muzzle blast that you get off of it. So if you're prone and if you're in an environment where it's going to kick up dust or chips or anything like that, then you're going to pay a penalty for that. You're definitely going to need to take steps in order to reduce your muzzle signature if you're using this for realsies. So I'm going to get some questions in the comments regarding the tripod that this is sitting on. This is why don't you put it on a bipod rather than a tripod? Well, a tripod is more stable than a bipod. It's got additional drag that I can use in here in this ball connector up front. And it doesn't add a whole lot of weight. When you're talking about something that already weighs in more than my ex-wife, then I think saving a little bit of weight here and there is pretty good. So this is actually made by Spartan Precision. They're out of the UK. A good buddy of mine makes them, called Rob Gearing. He's a hoot. You should look him up on the socials. And I've been using one of his products, or some of his products now, for about 7 years, and they just keep getting better. So anyway, that's that. I first encountered this gun a couple of years ago in SHOT Show, when the guys from Barrett took me to a back room and said, hey, take a look at this. And I went, oh, my Lord, that's almost as big as I am. And after that, I thought, yeah, I need to get my hands on one of those. But there's been a few hotspots in the world where these have been showing up, and so I think we're one of the first people to get hands-on with this gun unsupervised, i.e. there's not a factory rep standing next to us making sure we don't break it. We're known for breaking things, so let's see how that works out. Anyway, there's no point in really shooting this at anything less than 1,000 yards. It really doesn't stretch its legs until after that, so we're going to try and take it out and hit targets at 1 mile today. We have a 1 round 0 on this thing just to check it, and then we're going to dive straight in. So can we hit a target at 1 mile with this? Yeah, I think if we can't, It's not going to be a problem with the gun. It's not going to be a problem with the ammunition. It's probably going to be the shooter or the data that we get, or the lack of data that we get in terms of environmentals, ballistics, and G7 drag coefficient models. That's a whole lot of nerd speak, but I'm really looking forward to shooting this thing. In terms of comparison to the 50 cal that you might be familiar with, the 416 is a dedicated long-range precision round. Obviously 50 BMG, for those of you who know, back in the First World War or just afterwards, Marduce was developed in order to be, a big-ass machine gun. And ammunition for that has pretty much stayed the same. If you try and shoot a Barrett M107 with M33 ball, then you're probably going to end up with a 3 to 4 MOA group. Not good enough if you're trying to hit man-sized targets at a mile. 416 Barrett, like I said, was developed specifically for that role. And it's slinging a 500 grain projectile at around about 2750 feet per second. It has a much higher ballistic coefficient than a 50 cal, so when it arrives on target, not only is it more accurate, it packs a bigger wallop. This is our target. Wind's about variable between 3 to 5 miles an hour, and all the way over there, a mile away, is our firing point. Are we going to hit it? It's in the hands of the gods. Thank you, Mike. Mike has extreme confidence in us. He reckons we're going to hit it. So we're going to dial the data into a Kestrel, send some rounds, make our corrections, and hopefully you'll see an impact. Oh, and before we go, on the ground here are some bullets who've actually hit this target, and this is what the 416 bullet does when it hits steel at a mile. As you can see, it's completely mushroomed and it's lost about 80% of its mass, as compared to 338 Lapua. Really hasn't done much. So 416 ass, 338 Lapua, Taylor Swift.
$16.7, didn't change.
Okay, I'm holding 2 mils low. Fire now. Yeah, I think we call it. Yeah, I'm good with it. Right now we're going to take a look at the hit we made on that target with Mike and my spotter. And I'm just the monkey on the trigger. It's a spotter that makes the difference. That's why you put the most experienced guy behind the glass rather than on the trigger. So we're going to take a look at that, see where we hit, and we couldn't really make any corrections after this because it just fogged in. All we're doing is wasting ammunition. So we're going to take a look at it because we can't see it from back there because it's a mile away. Anyway, let's go take a look.
I bet it hit right here on the hose.
Oh.
I bet. See?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I said, all three. I bet it hit one of the hoses right here. Close enough for me. Because it had to be up here, wouldn't set it off.
You're right, right.
I was looking for that. I wanted the spots.
So still a little bit high.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the reason we was talking, coming down another 10th,
Yep, yep.
Let's see, I'm trying to look over the target. Yeah, you see where you're hitting over the target? We were high. Because remember, it's coming in at an arc now.
Sure.
So there's the hits right there. So that's what we were. We were probably a half a mil high.
And this one's off the right edge. There's a 6.5 round.
Yeah.
Just hit the dirt. It's like, boop.
There's the tip off of it right there. I think we were very close with that caliber putting out that velocity. I think if it even comes close to here that we can see there, it's going to set these things off. Just from the clear concussion of that bullet coming by these magnetos. You know? So
it's still supersonic.
I mean, that's a mile. That's good with a mile.
So there's the impact on the small target, and it looks like again it was coming in pretty steep. Impacted about the same level on the berm as the other two. So yeah, close. But close only counts in hand grenades. Yeah, so the rounds coming in at a pretty steep angle at this point. We're actually lobbing them in. And so, whee, boom.
Time of flight of that bullet's 2.688 seconds. The speed when it breaking the sound is 11:42. Let's get the height though, what was the level of height? Here I'm looking for it. Trajectory height. This is amazing, guys, because I can tell you right now that a 6.5 Creedmoor at a mile is 110 feet off the ground from your point of level of firing. This bullet here is 29.06 feet off the ground from here to a mile. So very little arc.
Yeah.
But it's enough to come over that target and hit where we saw. So, the difference between a 6.5 Creedmoor, which you picked up the bullet, showed them over there, is almost 80 feet in height, just from the sheer velocity of that bullet.
Yeah, and it's not shedding velocity that quickly either.
There.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll try it again tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
All right.